59. Let's get some opening statements. Let's look at this thing by units. D-Wood, Eagles offense. What do they need to do to win this game?
Do what they've been doing all year. Dominate up front with that huge offensive line. I know we talk about Saquon has been fantastic, obviously having a historic type season, but that Philadelphia Eagles offensive line with those gargantuan beasts up front, they are able to just remove people from the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a tall task against that Chiefs defense, but no one has been able to stop them all year long.
They had 1,700 pounds of offensive line in the starting lineup last Sunday. J-Mac, you're my defensive specialist. What can Kansas City's D do against the Eagles?
The last time they won a Super Bowl, the defense all had T-shirts on, and it says, "In Spags we trust," and they need to do that. When guys go against Saquon Barkley, you feel like you have to do everything just to stop him. Spags is going to draw up the best defense for them. They have to trust that and just do your job and trust the guy next to you.
Okay, so that's one side of the ball, if you will, one matchup. Let's go to the other. Harry, Eagles defense, what do they need to do to get the win?
Well, go back and take a page out of the book that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers used. The only Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes lost. You got to sack him, you got to get to him, you got to pressure him, you got to hit him. 3 sacks in that ball game, 10 quarterback hits. The defensive line, they have to be ferocious. They have to get to them early and often.
And then, J-Mac, how about Kansas City's offense? What do they need to do?
I don't care how ferocious you are. When Travis Kelce's out there and Patrick Mahomes has the ball in his hands, work that middle of the field. Isolate Kelce on Blankenship, on Burks, whoever it is, get that ball in Travis Kelce's hands and let him do what he does.
I think Kelce's a sneaky, interesting bet for MVP of this game. But, of course, the big storyline with Kansas City is that they are on the verge of a three-peat. This is what Travis Kelce had to say about that on the New Heights podcast with his brother.
It hasn't been mentioned one time outside of being asked about it in the media. Everybody in the building is just focused on, doing their job. That's how we got here. That's how we got the first one. That's how we got the second one. It's the only way you win football games and get to the Super Bowl is if you focus on the task at hand. For sure. And we got a huge task coming up.
Okay, so, I mean, we love Travis Kelce and all that kind of stuff. There's literally no way that's true, right? There's no conceivable chance, Adam Schefter, that you are on the verge of doing something that no team has done in the Super Bowl era, and it has not come up in conversation.
I think it can be true. I think it's on everybody's mind. They don't have to talk about it, but they could think about it, right? Greenie, you think about ratings for the show. Do we talk about ratings and how well this show's doing?
Every day.
No, we don't.
Oh, yes,
we never talk about it.
That's
but I know you're thinking about it. Thinking about it.
If you go to my Twitter feed yesterday, I posted 2 ratings things. We just had our second highest rated month in January, and Sunday was up 10% year over year.
Well, maybe Travis Kelce going to start talking about his ratings today in the locker room. That could be that. But I don't think it's an active conversation. I don't think they're sitting there at practice or at lunch saying, boy, where do you think we go in the history books if we become the first NFL team to ever win 3 Super Bowls? But I don't know how you can't think about something that hangs over this game, this franchise, this season, this league, because it's history. You don't have to talk about it. It's just there every single day.
So if there's one thing that we've all learned from listening to Nick Saban all this season on College Game Day, he uses the word process all the time, so much that it sort of it goes in one ear and out the other. But that's really what it is. And I think what Travis is saying there really is true. They're all aware, to Shefty's point, of what is out there. But they know, D-Wood, that the way to get there is by taking care of this practice, this moment, all these little things that eventually get you to that place.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in the locker room, you know, I'm sure amongst guys, that's something that's brought up, but it ultimately does go back to the process. You know, I remember being in, going to my first Super Bowl, it just felt like you were in a dark tunnel because everything we did was process. You weren't allowed to go past the next meeting, the next practice, the next session. It was all about that, just trying to do your job and get better just a little bit more. It wasn't until after the Super Bowl when the confetti came down that I actually felt like, man, I'm actually seeing the light for the first time all season long because it just felt like Bill kept you in the moment. He never allowed you to just think outside of that. You were always focused on the job at hand.
My experience is so different because, to your point, I'm in my 10th year. It's my first time ever in the playoffs. We make it all the way to the Super Bowl. I have a twin brother, so I had already been to 4 Super Bowls of watching him do it. So when I got there, that 2-week buildup, I'm watching everything. I'm watching what's on TV. I'm listening to everything. I can already see the confetti falling and what I'm going to be doing to celebrate, because I feel like when you get to that point, no one thinks about, like, man, what if we get in the fourth quarter and we don't make the play to win this game? You have already thought about what it's going to feel like to be a Super Bowl champion. So I do think these guys are constantly, it's on their mind. A guy like Travis Kelce, what does that mean for me? The list of tight ends, Tony Gonzalez, Gronkowski, I have 3 of them in a row, what I've been able to do. So I definitely think it's on their mind. You're not actively talking about it, but you've thought about what it's going to be.
So I think what helps what both of you guys are talking about, when you think about the Patriots teams that you guys played on, and also this Chiefs team that is trying to three-peat for the first time since the merger, is culture. And having a solid foundation, and it all starts at the top, from ownership to the GM to the head coach, and then assistant coaches, and then the players being an extension of the coaching staff and that whole 9. Culture means everything, and that's why you guys have a Super Bowl ring.
And, Shefty, you and I work on Sundays with Teddy Bruschi. Yeah. And I've learned so much just from sitting with him and listening to the way his mentality works. And he will tell you anytime you want to talk about it with extraordinary pain how much it still kills those guys that they didn't finish the perfect season, because it's something they would have had over everyone. That literally anyone could question, we did something that no one had ever done. And that's what this three-peat is, whether they're thinking about it now or not. It's the ultimate trump card in any conversation. Are you better than this team? Are you better than that team? You know what? Did they win 3 in a row? No, they didn't. We did. End of conversation.
I think when you get to the level that the Chiefs are at, the production that they've produced over the years, the wins don't mean as much as the losses do. The losses would resonate more with them and hurt them more than a victory would feel good. And so you're trying to go for the three-peat, but you're trying to avoid the pain that Teddy Bruschi has told you about, that he feels to this day. You don't want that feeling, especially when you're this close to history. And again, they're not talking about it, but we can only imagine what it would be like and what it would feel like to be that first NFL team when that confetti's coming down, D-Wood, right? And they have it coming down, and they can let themselves go and know that they are the first team in NFL history to ever win 3 straight Super Bowls.
You know what I hope it isn't for them? And I don't know this, and I don't even know them, so I don't know why I'm putting it in this context. But I was in the room when the Bulls, the Jordan Bulls, won their first, their second, and their third championships. The first in the locker room afterwards was a celebration the likes of which I'd never seen in my entire. I've never seen a collection of people that happy. The second one was a little more muted. The third one I would describe as a celebration of relief.
Wow.
Thank
That's what I'm
God
talking about.
we did it. Wow. Like, there was so much pressure on them to do it. And I think to that point, the disappointment of failing in that quest, which, whether they talked about it daily or not, was obviously on their minds all year. The fear of that disappointment, I think, outweighed the celebration of winning. And I have no idea if it will be that way for the Chiefs or not.
Fear can drive you. Fear can be the ultimate driving factor in situations like this. And I can only imagine. Think about all the time that these guys have put in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, these guys have played a lot of games over the past few seasons, and to have an opportunity squarely in your sights to do something no one else can talk about, and you come up short, I guarantee you, when it's all said, when their career is all said and done, if that were to happen, that would be the one thing that they will point to.
Shefty just said it. You remember those losses more than you remember those victories. And I've talked to guys that have lost the Super Bowl, and they've said, I'd rather not get to that game than to get all the way to that point and fall short. I could have been home months ago watching and seeing these guys chase that ring than to know I had that opportunity right there in my hands and I let it slip away. So that disappointment, that fear of failure, which drives so many greats, it's a tough one to have to swallow if you fall short.
So it's something that Mahomes, if he's playing golf with anyone from Tom Brady to Joe Montana to Terry Bradshaw and anybody else.
Hell of a group.
Hey, did you guys win 3 in a row? Because I won 3 in a row.
We all have egos.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. We all got. And if you got that type of trump card, That speaks
And
volumes.
have you seen the Get Up ratings? Greeny's ego's going to be huge.
I mentioned it was our second biggest month in our history. Anyway, so Mahomes, he's looking to hoist the Lombardi Trophy for the 4th time. That would tie him with Montana and Bradshaw for second most all-time as a starting quarterback behind Brady and his sensational 7. Yesterday, Brady's former coach.
And they'll try again, 2nd and 10. They'll fake the handoff. Now Smith. And he's taken down. This will be a Brown sack.
Okay, you know my bias is about to come out here. A lot of people think that the offense is just moving in the wrong direction. I'd say they're moving in the right direction because the defense is pushing them back.
Former defensive guy. Now, as a quarterback, 3rd and long, you really got to rally the troops here, don't you?
Yeah, you do in a big way. And what else do you have to look out for? More pressure coming at you because it seems to be working pretty well.
3rd and long, it's Smith escaping the pressure right. Slings this deep. This is caught inside the 15. And he takes it in. Touchdown, Washington. Bringing it out of his end zone, Isaiah. And all deep in his own territory. He coughs up the football.
That's what it is, baby. That's
And
what
he
it
will
is.
score. Touchdown, Washington. John Bates. Excellent work there to get in on the touchdown run. And Washington has tied the ball game with the extra point still to come. Now it's Hopkins to add the extra point. And with that, his guys take the lead here by a point.
A pretty decent game. Other quarterbacks, they have a hard time getting past it and often put the ball up for grabs the rest of the ball game.
And a productive gain out to the 14 after starting at the 7. It's a gain of 7. 7 yards the pickup there. 3 yards remain for 2nd down. Fitzpatrick now. Slings this deep from McLaurin. It got his man complete. And all the way down to the 24-yard line. Quite a show of arm strength right there. That was in the air for a long time, and it was on target, too.
And from where we sit, if you had told me that that ball was somehow going to get from point A to point B, I would have told you no way. I mean, that was an absolute cannon shot, and he still dropped it right on the money, too.
And that ball traveling 68 yards in the air, according to Next Capital at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. They love their football in this part of the country, and this crowd is ready to go as their guys will match up with the Buffalo Bills. Two teams more than ready to get this one started. And we are underway from FedEx Field. Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10.